Hey everyone, this is Dan, aka Function Store. Today we're going to take a look at how we can use the ComplexOp and the complex mix in feedback networks. There's a great variety of things we can achieve, mainly fractal-like visuals. There's really a lot of possibilities. And if you don't know what the ComplexOp and the complex mix are, then go watch my previous YouTube video that I made a while ago, where I go into how you can use them in different techniques, not only just UV wrapping, but essentially what the ComplexOp is that it's creating shapes based on complex numbers and complex functions. So you can have lots of different things, as you can see now on the left. And yeah, there's a lot of options. Also, with this video, I'm releasing an update to these components, and the main new feature is basically the transform orders, and having reworked everything under the hood, how transformations work. They are now very proper, so you can use pivoting also, and different transform orders for the pre and the post transforms. So yeah, really you have everything covered now. You should have everything covered now. So yeah, if you have been a user before, make sure to update. I will put links in the description. You can get it for free. But also, if you want to support me and if you want to check out my other things on Patreon, then yeah, please consider joining my Patreon. There's a lot of useful things there. I go a lot into workflow in TouchDesigner and also other things, so be sure to check it out. But without further ado, let's start. Our first example is going to be very simple, and it's going to look like this in the end. So it's a bit different from the usual ComplexOp thing. Let's start with the ramp. Let's make it 1080 by 1080. And let's make it circular mirror, and I'm gonna move the face to -1 because I like it more. And then I'm gonna add the ComplexOp, and we're gonna see how it looks like when it's just by itself. So we're gonna use the ccut function, and by default it looks like this. So let's add it in the background like this. So this is what we start with. We can make it move a bit, looks cool, but we can make it more fractally and make it look more cool with some feedback. So I'm gonna add a feedback before it, and I'm gonna add a composite here. We're gonna do this, and we're gonna feedback right here. Now let's change the operation to exclude the composite operation, and let's add a math top and multiply this by 0.5. And now we can already see something happening, basically replicating the same ComplexOp inside the ComplexOp many times. Let's change the post scale to 0.5 maybe, and slow this down. And you might be able to notice some flickering and some noise in the middle also. We can get rid of that if we change the input smoothness of the ComplexOp to interpolates. It gets a little bit better, but if you change it to mipmap, then it just looks much cleaner. So I recommend doing that and checking out which one you like. And basically here we can take whatever as our outputs. We can take the composites, which I don't really like, or just take the output from the ComplexOp right away. And of course, there's many options you can explore here, and they're all very cool. Let's try what happens if we input a noise instead of a ramp. Let's make it non-monochrome, and also let's make it 32-bit float. Did I make this one 32-bit float? No. Does it matter? Not really. So let's use this. Let's see what happens then. Okay. I don't know. Looks alright, I guess. I like the black and white more, but yeah, just feel free to experiment with this one. As I said, there's millions of possibilities here that we can all explore. We can also go into fractal land already. If we zoom out here, for example, with the complex sign, this is very cool in my opinion. The next example is going to be even a bit more fractally. Let's just take a look at what we can achieve in the end. And let's build it from scratch. I'm going to copy the previous example as a starting point and see what we can change. I'm going to delete this composite because we're not going to need it anymore. And also I'm going to delete, not delete, but make this multiply 1. And what we're going to do here is we're going to have a UV map like so. The resolution should be the same as this one. So I make it dot width, dot height. And then we will composite these two together with a multiply, but we're not going to use this as our feedback yet. So we're going to add a, well, we don't know, but we add a remap. We add a remap and we actually use the second input. And we're going to remap our original image with this weird thing that we're going to see soon. And we're going to use this remap as our feedback. So magically, we have something pretty cool. We can change the face here. So it's even more fractally than before. And if we change, yeah, for example, the scale here, also the post scale, I guess. Yeah, that's what I was animating in the example. So yeah, if we just put an LFO to this, then we have what we had going on. Let's see why we have that weird line. In our remap, I think we need to set this extent to something other than 0. So we can set it to hold or mirror or repeat or whatever. And probably it's worth to set this also to bitmap. Yeah, I think I see minor change there. So yeah, we can change also this function to something else. And see if we find something cool once again. Oh yeah, I like this a lot. Nice. So yeah, in this example, we are using a UV map, a standard UV map, and we are multiplying that with our kind of weird feedback texture and feeding back the remap of this. So it's kind of a weird one, I understand. And I don't fully understand how it works, but feedback networks are such. We just need to experiment and find what looks cool. We can also try and put a blur after this, I think, to make it look a bit smoother. Yeah, this can work. And you can see those flickers. I found that some settings are just bound to flickers. Maybe you find a solution to those. But already we are doing cool things. So I'm happy. Now we're moving on to kind of a different beast. using displace feedback techniques, and some craziness can happen and some super cool things can happen. So let's see how we can do that. Let's start from our first example again. And instead of using the mapped output of the ComplexOp to feedback, we're gonna use the UV output, and we're gonna use it to displace our feedback. So let's use the UV output in the second input. Already I'm gonna reduce this to 0.001, and the vertical source I'm gonna set as green and extend as mirror. Great, and we're gonna displace our feedback image. We can use this math also here after our UV. So we can add 0.5 after the multiplication, which is gonna be around 0.1, and we add this post add 0.5 because the source midpoint of our displace is also 0.5. Let's see if we are going anywhere yet. Yeah, this one, I'm gonna swap the order and make this over. Let's display this thing. Okay, cool. Already we can see something happening. I'm gonna disable this animation on here and change the scale to 0.1. We can see some more lines appearing. And let's change this post scale to 0.01. And I think now we're there. Yeah, great. So yeah, you can check out some other operations, but something to note with this one is that it's gonna, after a while, in certain settings, just dissolve our image into blackness or whiteness or just somethingness. Otherwise, we need to feedback some of our original texture to this setup, so we can try maybe achieve something. But yeah, just again, to break it down, we're using the displace, and in the for the ComplexOp, we are not using actually the mapped output. So this one, we're just using the UV map to displace our feedback image over and over again, and we can control. Oh, nice. Yeah, that's the real shit. Okay, a bit too much. But yeah, we can control some things with the math here, and also just a different post scale can have different effect. Yeah, this is kind of a dissolving effect, I would say, but yeah, let's try and composite some of our original image so that maybe we don't lose color, but I cannot promise anything. Oops, that's too much. Let's maybe do screen, but not so much, so let's put a level, perhaps. Okay, too much still. So reduce the brightness, I guess. But also we can maybe animate this. Let's see what happens then. And let's maybe change this to like so. I don't know. Could be fun. Yeah, I think this is just gonna end up white. Yeah, there's definitely some room for experimentation with this one. Maybe this is the key. I don't know. Under. Yeah, just be brave and experiment. But yeah, I like this actually. This is pretty cool. Again, we can easily go into fractal land. And some more cool dissolves. This kind of textures can be used for like some video synth effects for sure. Maybe if we change this actually to which one was it? I think I found something cool. Yeah, heat is pretty awesome. Yeah, this can work, I guess. Look at that. In the fourth example, we're gonna take a look at some more techniques. This is kind of a watercolor mixing kind of effect. But yeah, let's take a look. So I'm gonna base this on our previous one with the displays. And it's gonna be pretty similar. But instead of just using the UV, we're gonna use the slope. And already something is going on, which is cool. I'm gonna change this to meat map. And by the way, I can change this also in my custom toolbar here, which you can find on my Patreon. So I can do it like this, or I can change it for all if I hold Alt. But anyway, so now we're meat mapping, and in the slope settings, I'm gonna change this to vertical luminance. Nice. Let's change the scale and animate this rotation. Maybe a bit quicker like that, and use a noise like so. And also in our slope, we can increase the strength a little bit. This is looking nice-ish. And we're gonna set this to the complex logarithm. Let's make this like so. And let's add a level after our displays and decrease the opacity a little bit. Okay, like that, let's say. So now we have this annoying line here, and we can get rid of it with a blur. If we set the pre-shrink to 3, or wait, maybe we can just do it with the filter. No, I think we need to set the pre-shrink to 3. And now that annoying line is gone. Great. Let's see what happens if we change the algorithm base. Funky stuff. With different operations, we get different results. Yeah, just play around with this one. I think it's pretty cool. Yeah, we can go on for a while, just finding something that we like. Oh yeah, this is nice. A little bit slower. What if we do repeat instead? Nothing happens, of course. Yep, because we are not mapping here, we are mapping here in the displays. Let's try repeat. It's a bit different. Hold is also nice, I guess. This is also cool. Wow, this is actually pretty cool. All right, I think that's enough of this example. I think you get the gist of it. And let's move on to our final example, which we saw in the beginning. So yeah, this one we're gonna take a look at. As you can see already, it's not gonna be too difficult. It's gonna be pretty similar to what we've had before. Let's start with the third example and make it our fifth. So here I'm gonna actually, keep these. I will remove this. And in this example, we're gonna use the ComplexOp after the displays. That's kind of our trick here. Yeah, we're gonna use the slope as we did in the fourth example. I'm gonna increase this prematurely. I guess we can remove this math actually. And here we have red green, that's good. Green, we select vertical luminance. And then we can try this. So important in this example is that the extent we put to 0 and the UV weight we increase to 0.01. And now we can see those lines coming up. Let's change it to this noise, like so. And yeah, with this one, we need to decrease the blend actually for things to happen. Okay, this is a bit crazy. So what are we missing here? We can add a blur after our slope. Still very crazy. And displace weight we can increase actually to 0.01. Okay, closer. And what we're missing is a level after our displace. Let's increase the black level to 0.01 and the brightness decrease to 0.099. And now these things are disappearing finally. So our only task right now is to play with the settings here. Let's just do something, and now it's getting there. Let's animate this rotation. And let's find something else. Wow, this is cool. I increase the blur after our slope. Oh, nice. I think it was this one in the example. I'm gonna copy the values. Actually, there was a translation of -6, which is interesting. Nice. We are getting there. So in the example, I actually used 2 complex OPs and the complex mix. So let's try and replicate that. Complex mix. So I'm just going to copy these values that I had there. It's all about experimentation. So yeah, I just want to encourage you not to copy what I'm doing. Just try and come up with your own settings, really. So I'm going to increase the blend here. And this one actually, and in the complex mix, how it works, you need to input to the second input a UV image, and the third input also UV image, and the image that you want to map to the first input. And we're going to use again the mapped image here. We need to decrease the blend in the complex mix, that's for sure. Here we have it all one. Okay, so this is C cos H. Looking good. 2.1. 2.1. And the other complex OP, we have it as C sin H. Yes. Plus scale at 0.5. Strand land at maximum. And we don't have this animated. This one is going. In the complex mix, what do we have? We had an add with a weight of 0.3. And this is on repeat, actually. These are all looking great, by the way, so we could stop wherever, whenever. And it really just shows you the power of these complex operations. Look at that. Bro. So yeah, I'm not gonna replicate what we had exactly. I think you get the gist of it. And yeah, I just want to encourage everyone to just play around, come up with your own design, come up with your own settings, come up with your own feedback networks. These are really just the most basic ones you can get. I'm sure there are other very cool ones. I don't know. We haven't used edge, the edge feedback, or any sharpening. I'm sure there are many options. So that's about it. I hope you get inspired by the ComplexOp and its capabilities in feedback networks. And I just want to encourage you to come up with your own ideas regarding this, and with your own settings and everything. There's a lot of options that we can get. And yeah, if you haven't seen the original video of the ComplexOp, I go into detail about its operation and use cases there. And finally, if you wanna support me, then consider joining my Patreon. I will have some project files there, and I have lots of other things already there, so just check it out and see if you find something useful. Thanks for watching, and see you around.